Hello, this is Dr. Shubha from Vasavi College of Education, Pondicherry. This is about creating an inclusive school. We are dealing with Unit-2, Part-1. So this is Unit-4, Part-1, Identification and Inclusion. Early detection of disability, issues and challenges, and parameters of inclusive education, parental attitude, and community awareness. Early detection disability and issues. Disability in a large number of cases is preventable. Early detection should be there because only then we can frame education, the system of education and social system actions for all children. The provision for intervention programs as early as possible can result in positive outcomes of children with disabilities, and their families can address the multiple factors of exclusion. There is growing evidence that children who receive early detection of disability and other services show gains in a wide range of skills, greatly enhancing their abilities to flourish when they begin formal education. Therefore, early detection of disability is very essential, either by the parent or by the school. If the child is having difficulty in reasoning, difficulty in analyzing, difficulty in learning something, then the teacher should understand that the child has some impairment or some disability. So that should be identified, and the parent should also help the teachers, and both should have mutual help in helping the child. In addition to enhancing children's developmental competencies and minimizing the complications, early detection of disability program can help to build effective support networks for parents, promoting competence and confidence. These programs that coordinate services across different sectors. Now, what are the different sectors which will help the children with learning disability? Health sector and education and social protection and social support. These are sustainable over time and support the children and the families as they move from early childhood into successful primary school experiences are particularly desirable. That is, first, diagnosing and detecting, early detection should be there, and then after detecting, the disability program should be chalked out by the health professionals, by the teachers, by the school, by the parents, the educational system and social system. By identifying the learning disability of the child at an early stage will help so that the child can get timely medical help, and the residual functioning capabilities can be measured. That is where the child is lacking, that can be measured, and accordingly the support can be provided, and this will lead to early acceptance of the disability. Okay, our child is like this, so we need to accept the child and his ability on the part of the child, family and community. The parents should accept the child with the negative disability. Training can be provided and preventive measures can also be adopted so that we can minimize the severity of the problem. The teachers can play an important role in identifying and assessing the disabled child. In case the parents at home do not observe a disability, the teacher can observe the behavior and find out why a child is behaving in a certain manner. If a low vision child sitting at the back of the classroom is not able to see the writing on the board, then the teacher can observe the child and say that something is wrong with the child. Similarly, observations can be made for other disabilities such as learning disabilities, hard of hearing, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia and all that. Teacher can refer the child to the doctor, therapist or to the other referral services, and to the parents, of course, main. Now, the challenges and parameters of inclusive education. Now, what do you mean by inclusive education? the normal children as well as the impaired children, that is, whether they are physically impaired or visually impaired or mentally impaired, they also go to the normal school with the normal children. So inclusive education alone cannot build an inclusive society. This refers to a goal as much as a gradual process. It just serves as a gateway to the fulfillment and enjoyment of other rights. Now, what is the other rights? Education for all. Whether the child is disabled or not, she or he has the right to educate himself. So this should be viewed as a moral issue. Now, the policies must take a rights-based approach supported by appropriate laws and legislation. The policy should provide a basis for the development of citizenship skills in students and for assuring quality. It should provide resources to prepare and support teachers and professional educators who play a fundamental role in achieving quality education. The key role of the state in promoting inclusive education as a public good, which contrasts with the trend towards the privatization of educational services. Public policies on inclusive education must be accompanied by and in accordance with other social, cultural, and language policies. The wide dissemination and sharing of public policies on inclusive education as a way to strengthen a global partnership committed to inclusion. Increased readiness of the general education system to accept the responsibility for the education of children with disabilities. That is, children with disabilities should come to the general system of education, and it has to be the policy, the concept has to be accepted by everyone. Now, this is a statement to think. Inclusion is not tolerance, it is unquestioned acceptance. So inclusion means, like, you have all the disabled children in the normal school with the normal children. So you don't tolerate them, you have to accept them without any questions. So it is unquestioned acceptance of disabled children. Now, what are the issues in inclusive setup? Lack of peer sensitization, lack of competencies among teachers, large class sizes, rigid curriculum, inadequate pre-service training and professional development, less students enrollment, dearth of resources, parental awareness. Now, what is this inclusive setup? In inclusive setup, you have the normal children as well as the impaired children. The impaired children, that is the learning disabled children, also to be in the same class. But these are the challenges and issues in inclusive setup. That is, competencies among teachers will not be that much, lack of competency, and that the classroom size, the class size, number of children will be large, rigid curriculum, that is, you need to finish the syllabus, rigid curriculum, it's not flexible, inadequate pre-service training and professional development. If the teacher is not fully developed to handle a specially ed kid, then definitely it's a challenge, and students enrollment will be less, resources may not be there, and parental awareness. Some parents may not like their children to study with the learning disabled children, and lack of peer sensitization, because everybody will not accept unquestioned acceptance will not be there. People will think that why I have to tolerate this person. So these are the issues and challenges in inclusive education. Now let's talk about parental attitude and community awareness. Now, parents are the key source of vital information about their children because they know very well. They have first-hand knowledge of their children's physical, social, emotional, and cognitive behavior. Parental involvement is therefore indispensable. That is, you cannot, ignore, indispensable to early intervention, and teachers should focus on strengthening such involvement. Parents are expected to play a crucial role in the education of their learners with disabilities. By first and foremost, they have to accept their conditions. They have to help the child to learn to be human, to love, to build her unique personality, develop her self-concept, self-image, and self-worth, self-esteem, and relate with the changing society in which she is born. The home is to continue from where the school leaves, and vice versa, and the school is to continue from where the home leaves. Successful collaboration between the home and school should be there. So it is necessary for such a link early in the child's life, possibly at a preschool age. For parents of children with special needs, initially acceptance becomes the main concern. They go through a various emotional phases which are coping strategies. Parents go through grief. Why for me? Why my child is like this? Frustrations, denial, and anger before the child's condition is accepted. It's very common. The other concern for parents is the education of the child with special needs. They need to find the right school, right teacher, and parents who favor inclusion believe that it would increase their child's learning ability due to higher standards in a regular class and would provide a stimulating environment. But not many parents will accept and understand the child's ability and disability and put them in the right school. And how community can help. Community awareness programs need to be planned. Regular training sessions need to be conducted for the parents of children detected with disability. As a policy intervention, information collected as part of the program needs to be documented systematically to create a substantial database which could be used in the future. Now this we can see in the US. In the US, every school will have a special educator and he or she will coordinate with the school and the parent. Every week the parent will get a letter. See, your child is like this and how you are finding your child. Is there any improvement? So they will talk to the parent and they will be called to the school and also to the community. So in the West, they treat this in a very, very efficient manner. But here in India, we are in a very, very early stage. While talking about community awareness, rehabilitation of disabilities, this is the key concept. Now what is this rehabilitation? This can be classified into distinct groups. Now one is physical rehabilitation. That is counseling and medical interventions, that is physical provision of aids and appliances should be given. So this is physical rehabilitation. This will also include the developmental of rehabilitation professionals. That is, if a child is physically handicapped, then a wheelchair can be provided. So physical rehabilitation, this is one. The second one is educational rehabilitation, including vocational education and education for persons with disabilities. So here computer aids can be given or the other software can be used and the system of education can be changed according to the individual's need. So this can be done. Education is the most effective vehicle of social and economical empowerment. So keeping with the spirit of the Article 21A, now what it says, it's a fundamental right of everybody. So guaranteeing education as a fundamental right and Persons with Disabilities Act, free and compulsory education has to be provided to all children with disabilities up to a minimum age of 18 years. Now the third thing a community can do is economical rehabilitation for a dignified life in a society. Now what is this? For persons with disabilities comprise of both wage employment in an organized sector or self-employment. So supporting structure of services should be there. So vocational in rehabilitation centers or vocational training centers should be developed. That is, if they cannot go for any white collar job, maybe tailoring or any vocational typing. So such vocational groups can be provided for them, such services can be given, and such rehabilitation centers can be organized, will be developed to ensure that disabled persons in both urban and rural areas, they have opportunities to be productive and gainful employment. So now let's sum up this. Now what is this inclusion? This is the need of the whole community. Now whoever is disabled, they need to be identified, and we need to understand the school and community. So we need to celebrate the diversity and individuality. Each one is different. So we need to provide flexible learning, which is everybody's responsibility. And we need to value everyone, not just about the individual educational plan. We need to change the way things are organized so that it should suit every learner's needs. So this is not an add-on or an afterthought. So disabled children should be identified early, and they should be given the due support and due recognized system, and they need to be given a chance to educate themselves to be successful in their society.